most of the things that we thought we were doing right as first-time parents were part of the contributing factors why.
I mean, we thought we were, helping him by exposing him to nursery rhymes, cocomelon. What we didn't know is TV could be good if you have selective programs for your kid to watch, especially at the age where they need to learn to talk. So instead of cocomelon, if we had been doing Miss Rachel, limited time, of course. So please, if you're out there, especially if like Harrison just said, if you're alone, this is your firstborn, and talk with your child, and at the same time limit their screen.
So for parents who have their kids in regular school but then still have challenges, what would be your recommendation to them?
Your child's teacher should be your best friend. You should have regular checks from the teacher. And then even from the kid, every time the child comes from school, you should ask, what did you study today? What did the teacher teach you? Initially, you may not be getting clear answers, but as you keep it, therapy is all about, repetition. Every time, it will get better.
If you do therapy and you stop at home, you don't do anything, it's just a waste of time.
Or you stop at the therapy office.
So now let's dive into you becoming an architect and how architecture school was like.
There's a team of jury, and each person there is looking for something that they are interested in. So it's about trying to please everybody. So you have to put in a lot of work, and that was the stress about architecture.
If you had to help another young mom set up a restaurant, what would be the hardest truth that you would want to tell them, that this is what you're going to deal with, and then this is what hope should look like?
You probably were going to get people who don't understand what you want to achieve. You also have to understand that growth is a process, and you are not forced to work with anybody who doesn't believe in your vision. It's easier to let the person go than to kill your dream or kill your business.
All right, Diana, welcome to the ABC show.
Thank you, Harrison.
All right. So, I would want to understand how growing up was like for you, and then how you got into the whole architecture space. Like, I've always said, before you, I didn't know that someone could read visual arts and then become an architect. It always sounded like you had to do pure science, do elective maths and all that to become an architect. So how was growing up, and how did that fall into you becoming an architect?
Well, growing up, I used to like drawing. Honestly, I didn't even know who an architect was until I finished with JSS and I was to go into SHS, and my dad chose visual art for me. I thought I wanted to do business. At that age, you don't really know much about the career world out there. So with my skill that my dad was aware of, he chose visual art, which I studied. And after that, he guided me to choosing architecture in the university. And it was when I actually started doing the course that I fell in love with it, that I knew anything about it. Yeah.
All right. So from JSS to SS, it was largely you loving drawing.
Yes.
And
drawing.
then how was a visual art class for you? Did you feel like you belonged to that visual art class, or you thought that your dad had made a mistake when you started as a visual art student?
But initially, I felt like I didn't belong there. But I actually did belong there because I excelled there. Yes. So it was a mixed kind of feeling being in the class. I was good at what was being done there, but I felt like I wanted to do business. But then because I was skilled at it, I did very well in the visual art class, and then when I excelled to even being able to study architecture afterwards.
All right, so now let's dive into you becoming an architect and how architecture school was like. Back in school, real estate students, planning students were like the busiest. They always had to carry their board around. They had to go for a seminar, jury, whatever they call them. And I'm wondering what architecture class would be like. How many years? 5 years? How was the journey like?
The journey was long. It involves a lot of hard work. Architecture is one course that is not exactly about having one plus one being two. Nobody has the right answers, and when you go to present your work, there's a team of jury, and each person there is looking for something that they are interested in. So it's about trying to please everybody. So you have to put in a lot of work, and that was the stress about architecture. But that apart from that, the fun of you know concepts coming to design and all that, it was interesting.
So from architecture school, national service, how was it like? Did you work with an architecture firm for national service?
I worked with State Housing Company, so their architecture department. So what we did was check out the buildings they were yet to put up and then inspect the ones that were going on. So I was mostly in the office, but then occasionally we'll go to site. Yeah.
I know you've worked on a number of projects. When you look at finishing school as an architect and then coming back into the real world and applying everything that you've learned from your early stages, how was it like having to work with probably a senior architect where you have to still learn more on the job? How was that journey also like?
Okay, so whilst we were in school, it was mandatory for us to do attachment. So my very first boss, I had worked with him on a couple of attachments. Yes. So it was easy to just pick it up from there after school. So my first job, I was able to, just continue what we were learning during attachment.
Okay.
And sometimes too, it depends on the bosses you have or the kind of attachments you get engaged in. Because with the one I had the opportunity to, really be part of everything going on instead of just, being seated in an office and your boss will go and come. My boss, Hans Versen, he will actually take you to site. He will take you to the meetings, whether they were older men or women. He's going to teach you how to survive as an architect. So I had an opportunity.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds like someone gave you an opportunity and you probably are hoping to do same to a younger person.
Of course. Yes.
All right. Sounds good. If you look back in your early days, which aspects of the journey did you enjoy most? Are there projects that you see walking around town and you're proud of yourself that, yeah, I was a part of this project?
Yeah, like I said, that my first job gave me huge opportunities. I had the opportunity to work on the Ghana Commercial Bank prototype banks. We had one in Medina, we had another one in Kaneshi. Those were built from scratch, and those were my early days in architecture. I was a site architect, and I saw the project coming from the ground to the finishing level, setting meetings with contractors. Yeah, it was exciting. It was like everything you learned in school, you are now seeing it, feel. Yeah.
All right. So, working with a firm and then working for yourself as an architect, how has the change been?
I can say that, well, it has to do with time management. When you are working for yourself, you actually are left to discipline yourself. Aha. So when you get a project and you tell your clients that you are going to finish in 2 weeks, you have to finish in 2 weeks. Unlike when you have to report to your boss and then your boss has to report to the client. And even if there's a delay, it will be your boss's problem, but now that's your problem. So stuff like that. Yeah.
I like that. Clients wise, instead of clients, you're able to deal with as an individual architect working for clients and then working for an architecture firm. I've heard you say that. I've heard you say your boss said he would never work for individual clients. He prefers corporate jobs. And I'm looking at your experiences over the years, what has worked, and whether people out there really know what you're looking for. It sometimes feels like that people, everybody wants some sort of building. They're not really sure what they want. And when it comes to you, looks at the stress is going to be what you have to manage or deal with.
Yeah, so as an architect, you can decide what path you want to take. My boss decided that he wants to do corporate because he wants to everything defined. Yes. Um, Fortunately or unfortunately for me, I have had to rather deal with a lot of residential projects, and I have made it my my goal to try to work with every client in such that I know we all want a goal. And I try to, try to get it out of them. And it can be challenging because they are not trained to say what they want or what they like. You are trained to listen to them and rather give it into something. So that's just it. That's just the work. You have to work with everybody.
All right. I mean, so you're a mother of two, you're an architect, and I'm wondering how you're combining being a family woman and then having to work for yourself, manage your own time. How are you able to do that?
Okay, being a mom actually, brought the working out for myself out, if I should put it that way. So when I was pregnant with my first child, after up to when it was 9 months, I was still going to work. Yes, with a big belly. And after I had him, it just dawned on me that I wouldn't be able to do the eight
Eight
to
to
five,
five.
yeah, 8 to 5 anymore. So now I had to start standing on my feet. And that gave me another opportunity to see myself in another light. Yes, so that started my whole being a career woman thing. So I appreciate that aspect. And now I had to balance work and then child and then family, if I should put it that way. My first son actually delayed with speech. Yes, we had to, as a family, we had to put in a lot of time trying to assist him to, get his words out. We had to do a lot of research. Yeah, all that.
I mean, I before we started the interview, I was describing how we came to realization that he actually needed help. I remember I was at a workshop where I got a call from the owner of the school saying that I think Kekeli needs some sort of help, and it wasn't help that they could offer. So she thought that we needed to see a professional in like dealing with that, and I it was my first time. I mean, I've worked on different projects where we give support to women who are first timers and all that. I didn't see any of those coming. I thought it was just normal because he could rattle anything that he sees. He could, I mean, at age 2, 3, he could pronounce words that even at my age in primary school for me, I couldn't pronounce. So hearing that he needed help was a big blow for me. But I must say that it's been part of the journey, which is why we are here. And I'll say that, I mean, I do the traveling a lot and you do most of the work. So I won't sit here and want to take credit, but
The
I,
traveling is also the work because it brings it brings in the funds to
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But how was it? How was the journey? I mean, realizing that we needed help the first time we had to see a specialist. I know that you did most of the things by yourself. There were a few times that we had to go together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how has that journey been dealing with managing, working for yourself? Then it was just one baby, but you know that you needed to put in more efforts than a regular parent to do to get him to where you want him to be.
So for architecture, the training in school played a big role because at school we would usually do our works in the middle of the night and then at dawn. So I've grown to, you know, do my stuff at night. So I will work and then I'll draw, I'll design at night. During the day, when he's at school, I attend site meetings and meet clients. And when he's back in the evening, then again, I attend to him with you, of course, teaching him. And when we had appointment, I think we went at a point we were going to Hacho once a week. Yes, we will go with him for his therapy. So it was just time planning, and the the hope that he's gonna get better is what kept,
Drives, yes.
yes, making us go on and on.
The help. I mean, working with professionals. I remember we used to go to East Legon also for some help. And then when we started the therapy first, it was East Legon we used to go to. And then before we found a space within Lakeside around, within Adenta. And most of the things that we thought we were doing right as first-time parents were part of the contributing factors why he got the speech delay. I mean, it probably came, but we intensified it with the things that we did. I remember that at age 2, I think I got him a tablet for his birthday, his second birthday.
Yeah.
He always had access to TV, it was largely Cocomelon, yes. And most of the things that we did for him at an early age as first-time parents were like wrong.
Yes.
And I mean, if you can share some of the things that we did that you think that if any parent experiencing that or a first-time parent, especially if you are staying alone, it's just husband and wife in a self-compound, not a compound house, things that you think the parents should avoid so that they don't end up putting their kids in a space where they may have speech delay, or even if they have any issues, they don't end up compounding it.
Okay, so for our side, the TV played a major role in his speech delay. We thought we were, helping him by exposing him to nursery rhymes, Cocomelon. What we didn't know is TV could be good if you have selective programs for your kid to watch, especially at the age where they need to learn to talk. So instead of Cocomelon, if we had been doing Miss Rachel, limited time, of course. So please, if you're out there, especially if like Harrison just said, if you are alone, this is your firstborn, and talk with your child, and at the same time limit their screen. Do more play, actual play. Would you like to add something?
Like more play, limit phones, and even if you're going to watch channels, it has to be channels that are interactive that get him to do actions, speak. There are channels that we came across after we came to the realization that he needed help, that if we had known from the beginning, it would have made things way better for Kekeli. And I'm saying this because we all think that the screen is a better way to keep the kids away. When people meet us and they hear Kekeli, they go like, did you give birth to him outside?
Yes,
Was he born in the US?
Yes,
he has an accent because he picked that's an acquired accent from watching TV. And people think that he speaks very well. He speaks English fluently. And another thing that you could also do as parent is also to try to speak a local language with them. It's far more easier if both of you speak the same local language. It's a bit more easier. But in a case where you both don't communicate in the same language, but there's a common language that could be spoken at home, it will be good that he or she, your child learns another language. And we are not here talking as experts. We are sharing our own experiences with what we've had to do with Kekeli and what we are still doing.
Yes.
It wasn't just an issue of speech. I think once speech delays, it affects writing and everything. And we had to put in some effort in that too. And I'll throw the question to you because you do most of the work. When it comes to teaching Kekeli, I will always be the one around Eddie Nam. I won't say I'm always the one around Eddie Nam, but if you have to pick, it's easier running to Eddie Nam and leaving Kekeli for you. So how has that journey also been guiding him to learn? I remember potty training all the things he has to
Brushing
do,
teeth.
brushing his teeth, bathing
Bad
himself,
thing we are still on.
wearing the socks, all the guidance that you need to do. I mean, anybody out there learning or struggling with anything of any form of disorder, what can you offer?
So with Kekeli, I remember, or I should say, the the best solution is therapy, but therapy is expensive. So I remember we're doing it like once a week, and even if you have the
The
money,
means to
you may
do.
not even get the people, the experts every day to be with you. So what we did as parents, we went on the internet, started watching other therapists, handle kids, other parents, how they were handling. And so we learned a lot from the internet, and then we started applying. I remember how I got Kekeli to start talking. Something like, I learned something on online. I think, for example, what do you want? I'm coming on.
Echolalia, how to deal with echolalia if he has to say repeating himself.
Yes, repeating himself. So before, he used to repeat himself. When you say, how are you? He will also say, how are you? So now what we're taught to say, you say, how are you? I'm fine. You say all together, how are you? I'm fine. So when you say, how are you? Then he will say that I'm fine. I don't know if I'm even remembering all those things now, but like,
yeah.
my point is that go on the internet. There's a lot of information out there, and try applying, and it's going to help.
Yeah, I mean, I won't take out therapy. I mean, because most of the things that we had to learn was through therapy. If you find the right people, they give you the right information. Those that somewhere I should say will allow you in the space to see what they are doing. Because if you do therapy and you stop at home, you don't do anything. It's just a waste of time.
Or you stop at the therapy office, and then you don't apply it at home. Yes.
Yes, it's a waste of time. And I also say that it's good to keep the child in a regular school, depending on whatever the challenge is. So if it's a severe one, I'm sure the experts will tell you what to do. But if it's speech and minor issues that you could correct, behavior issues that you could easily correct, you are mostly advised to keep the child in school. That's what we've done for Kekeli. Kekeli just turned 7. I know he's going to class 3. He does everything that he's supposed to do as a regular student to do. He will have his challenges here and there, but the efforts that you put in as a mom, I'm sure it's part of the reasons why we are able to keep him in school. I mean, you have all the numbers to the teachers. Every teacher Kekeli has had, you've had your number. It was recently I was added to his class 2 class when it was about second year class, when he was just about leaving second year. So for parents who have their kids in regular school but then still have challenges, what would be your recommendation to them?
Okay, so your child's teacher should be your best friend. You should have regular checks from the teacher. And then even from the kid, every time the child comes from school, you should ask, what did you study today? What did the teacher teach you? Initially, you may not be getting clear answers, but as you keep it, therapy is all about, repetition. Every time it will get better. And you can also engage in extra classes. We did that for Kekeli. He had extra classes to assist the teachers. So whatever they are learning, when he comes home, we had a trained teacher who would do an extra hour with him. And then also we will call the school to ask what we can do to help. And at a point earlier on in his life, we were combining therapy with school. So once a week, he will go to Precious Pearl. It's located in Adenta. They will assist him there, and then the other 4 days of the week he goes to school. That helped. We did that for a year, and that greatly helped. So talk to the teachers, talk to your therapist, and ask AI questions.
Yeah,
yes.
AI.
And the world right now, there's so much information online. So yeah.
I think we've also had to deal with people who claim they are experts that basically had nothing to offer. And I mean, I remember one situation where we engaged a woman who sent you something. I don't know if you want to share that experience also. So that whilst you are out there looking for therapy, you're also out there looking for people who are just there waiting to pounce on your problems and make money out of it.
Yeah. So yeah, there was once we needed an education expert. Huh? There's a term for
An
it.
individual
Yes.
educational plan,
Yes, an individual IPS.
IEP.
IEP, yes,
Yeah.
for Kekeli. And to add to that, we also were attending the yearly autism
Autism event being organized
events,
by
GT,
GT Bank
GT
at
Bank,
UPSA.
UPSA.
Yeah, yes,
Yes,
we've
every
attended like
year.
twice or
Yes.
thrice. Yes,
Since we heard about it every year. So that's another thing that has also been, checking on Kikeli's improvements, because the year we go there, the next year when we go there, realize that, oh, he was this and now he's that. Yes. So from that um, workshop, we realized we needed to get him an individual
educational
plan. Yes. So we consulted someone we believe to be an expert. And the first alarm was she asked me all the questions, me. I was thinking that she will, meet Kekeli, but no. And then she sent me a report on Kekeli without even, interrupting with Kekeli. And unfortunately for her, the name on the documents was not even Kekeli, it was another kid's name. So I called and I'm like, why is there another kid? She's like, oh, sorry. So then I realized that it was just a document that she had just dabbed. And I was so disappointed. And it just hit me that parents are going through a lot, because I'm here looking for solutions for my child and you are just giving me a document that's, is not even about him.
Yeah, and I remember that the emphasis was on paying the money for the work to be done. The emphasis was on paying the money. We've also engaged other specialists who we can attest that are good.
Yes.
Like they give you engage them. You
Yes.
know that they know what they are about. You know that they are professionals. They know their work. So it's also one thing that you should look out for. Don't just go dump your kid expecting that some expert is going to solve solution. I mean, we've also heard other people talking about church, praying. I mean, to some extent, me being a PK, it's not that I don't believe in prayers. I believe that there's a lot more work that you need to put in as parents and still be praying, but you know that it is a work and a repetition of the efforts that you put in to get things better that really, really count. And I remember when there was once you called, I think he had done something that you were amazed about, and then you called, sometimes I'm in the office and then you call and you're like, Kelly was able to do this, Kelly was able to do that. How do you feel when you see him doing things that you expect him to do? He does and then he exceeds them. What kind of feeling do you get?
I feel so great. I feel like proud. Yes, and I continue to believe in him. Yes, he always like raises the bar every time. So it makes me feel so happy. It means that the work we are doing is paying off. And Kelly is improving every day.
All right. For anybody there who is looking for channels that they could watch or get their kids to watch, any recommendations from you?
For the talking stage, let's say younger kids, I recommend Miss Rachel. Yes, that's been helpful, especially for my little daughter. So because of all the lessons we had from Kekeli, the younger one, she she benefited. Miss Rachel, yes. And then for reading and maths, there's
Alpha Blocks.
Alpha Blocks, and what's the maths one?
For Alpha Blocks for math, and then for Number Blocks.
Number
Number Blocks for math,
maths.
and then Alpha Blocks for reading.
Yes.
Yeah. There are other specialists out there. You should do your own search, do your own research. I should say, look out for channels. There are different parents sharing their experiences and their expertise out there.
And then there are schools that would assist you. Care has been very helpful. They are located in Adenta Housing now. And then Precious Pearl, that's should I say a special school?
Yeah.
Yes. So also located in Adenta Housing down. They have been very, very, very helpful
Yeah.
on this journey.
I mean, sometimes it's not easy going out with your kid when you know that you expect him to do certain things that he's not able to do, and everybody thinks that why is he not doing it? There are instances where people listen to you and go like, this kid is really smart, and
Yes.
you get sometimes you like parents, if you don't take care, you are under pressure because he's doing something that you don't expect him to do, and there are those moments where you almost feel like it's not an easy journey.
Yes.
What has kept you going? Is it just hope, or it's something else?
I think with Kekeli, I have come to learn that he is who he is. He has his highs and then he has his lows. He's not like anyone else, and no one else is like him. So first of all, I have accepted him, and then the fact that he also amazes me keeps me going, and the fact that he's so intelligent, especially in his own way. And then there are also times where you want him to do things that other kids his age are doing. Like, for example, when they have speech day and the other kids are dancing and, saying poems, and he doesn't seem to be interested in any of those things.
Yeah.
And I would sit there and I would just wish, why
didn't you give Kekeli a role?
Yes. So sometimes I've approached the teachers. Why didn't you give my son a role? And they're like, oh, madam, we did. And then I think the next term, they actually made an effort.
Yeah. And then
but
he doesn't
just
want
was
to.
not interested.
Yeah.
And then the speech day, the previous speech day before the current one, he would not even sit with his friends. But this particular speech day, he sat with his friend. He saw me. He was sitting. He waved at me, smiled, and sat down throughout. So every time,
there's an improvement.
he's improving, and that is that is a joy of having him. You don't know what to expect, and at the same time, when it happens, you're like,
yeah.
Yes, you are just wowed. He wows you all the time.
I remember a day at a restaurant where someone, I think, called to place an order, and he wrote out the order clearly and gave it out to the kitchen. And I was like, I looked at my son's handwriting, I looked at the work that the things that he was able to do he wasn't even 7 then. I think he was still 6.
We didn't even know he could.
I didn't even know he could write. Yeah. So
well.
the lady at the counter just said, Kekeli has written the order and written out so clearly.
Very clearly, and very beautifully.
Yeah. So I'll say that every kid is special in their own way. Every kid is unique in their own way. I am unique in my own way. So it's up to us parents to identify some of these things early and give the needed support.
Yeah.
You recognizing the need and giving the support is what really matters. The earlier you accept that there's need for therapy, there's something that you don't understand that you probably need to search into, makes it better. Because in our case, Kekeli started talking very early, in the early ages, yes. But going back in time, when I look at pictures, videos, I still see that he gives certain signs that because we didn't know, we didn't even notice them early. If we had known about the situation, we would have easily dealt with it
earlier.
Yes. The last question that I would want to ask about Kekeli is, in school, he comes back with his homework and you would have spent time to support him do it. How has that been?
Yes, that's an interesting question. So with kids, I've come to realize that they're all the same. So sometimes when he comes, he's not interested in doing work. And then I'm stressing him. And then I'm worried, like, Kekeli is not doing this work. I don't think he understands. And then I will call the teacher and say, I tried helping Kekeli with this work and he doesn't seem to understand. Can you emphasize? And it's just like, no, but Kekeli did this work in school. And then sometimes I'm just like, am I stressing myself? Am I stressing myself too much? And then he'll bring some work home too that I'll be able to easily, handle him. But then when the teachers, I talk to the teachers, they'll be like, oh, he wasn't able to do this. So I realized that it's timing with the kids. So we are always trying to work with the teachers to, get the best results out.
All right. All right. Let me run away from Gekeli and then move to the restaurant. So now there is Gekeli, and then the restaurant comes. Eddie Nam shows up later in the journey. I mean, growing up, I knew I wanted to get into the restaurant space, but I gave up at the point. And you have taken over the mantle of running a restaurant. And how has it been combining kids, work, and then running a restaurant that never has an off day, runs 7 days a week, and closes at 11:15 p.m. as its name goes?
Yes. So for at least 6 years, we have been running, like you said, 11:15 restaurants. We are located at Lakeside Business Center. Yes. Like I said before, it's all, timing. So, and then getting your workers trained. Right. I can confidently say I can go away for as long as I want because I've already put in the work of training my staff. The head chef, very disciplined. He leads the team. The front, everybody knows what they are supposed to do. So there's actually not much stress. But, we are, as I'm still dealing with human beings. Every now and then there's something to deal with. But generally, I would like to give my staff 98%. They are doing a good job.
That's interesting to hear. I mean, I deal with different startups. Talk to SME owners, and it's not as if their staff don't work, but there are challenges here and there that you would have to deal with. So hearing someone say that staff are doing 98% for me is good. It means that you're doing something right that others should learn from. What are you doing right?
I treat everyone there as an equal. When I say equal, I give them respect, and then they give me respect back. When we have a meeting, I make it clear that the growth of the restaurants is going to help everybody for the fact that everyone is dependent. Your salary is coming from the restaurant. So if you don't handle it with care, how are we going to keep paying? And how are we going to grow to get salary increased if we are not handling it well? And then by the grace of God, I've been able to work with understanding people. It wasn't like that from the beginning. We've come a long way to settle at this stage. From year 1, 2, 3, it was people misbehaving here and there. But we've gone through all that. I'm only talking about the now, after the hard work. Yes. So I understand what other businesses are going through. But at this point, the staff are doing great.
All right. I mean, if you had to help another young mom set up a restaurant, what would be the hardest truth that you would want to tell them, that this is what you're going to deal with, and then this is what hope should look like?
Okay, so you probably were going to get people who don't understand what you want to achieve. And you also have to understand that growth is a process, and you are not forced to work with anybody who doesn't believe in your vision. It's easier to let a person go than to kill your dream or kill your business. So that's what I would say. If you think someone is not working in the direction you want to go, respectfully let the person go.
All right.
Yes. Thank you.
In my last interview with a Chef Olali, I think I mentioned that the biggest thing that any entrepreneur has to do is building a team. If you're able to build a team that is able to drive the business without you, or even better than you are like 70% done. If you're able to build systems that are able to run without your presence, you're almost there. So for me, hearing you say that building a team, letting people go when they need to go, keeping people when they need to stay as one good thing that I know that like every business need. Say that the moment you realize that an employee doesn't fit for what, the day you realize that someone doesn't fit for whatever reason you hired them is the day you should let them go. The longer you let them stay, the more difficult it becomes. I would say that, so it's a restaurant space where the kids come in, they right from school, they come into the space, and I mean I see them showing interest in most of the things that go on there. How would you say that the business is also shaping raising all the kids?
Oh, okay. 1115 Restaurant Lakeside is a kind of restaurant that embraces family. Yes. So, like we will want to raise our children not in the bubble. We want them exposed to the positive aspects as well. So, and human relationships in this world is key. So my children learning to interact with other people, it's adding to their skill as adults when they become, yeah. So sometimes we'll have them, even by themselves, or they'll thank a customer for coming, thank you for coming and stuff like that. I believe that we are training them to interact with people better.
I mean, I'm almost surprised to see Eddie Kelly wanting to set up a restaurant, wanting to set up a business because,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the interest was developed because my mom used to sell food
Yes.
and it's been there. My brother and his wife, they also cook. My sister also runs a catering business on the side. So, I mean, if I look at all of us, we pick from what our parents do. And
Exactly.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised seeing the kids grow up wanting to go into business or any of the things that we do, any of the careers that we've chosen. I would want to end by asking you one last question. And it has to do with business, family, and then career. What would you say is a secret? I mean, like to keep anybody going, because every part of we you can't leave a part of the journey and say, okay, let me finish this and come and take this part. So, like for me, you can't leave school and say I want to work and then come and take school. I can't leave business and say I want to. I just feel that life is what it is.
Yeah.
You have to take up the responsibilities and then make the time for everybody has 24 hours.
Yeah.
Someone is using it for just one job. Someone is using it for 2, 3 jobs. Someone is doing that. Someone is running a family of 5. You're running a family of 4. So what would you say that for you as your mantra or the word that you run with in dealing with all these things?
Okay. Growing up, I was with career-driven parents. My dad is a translator. I see him go working. My mom is a secretary. So people working in and out is something I've seen growing up. And the other thing is the person I got married to. Yes, I can say that I have the freedom to make my choices and make my decisions, and the positive push, or should I say, what word can I even use? I get the support from my husband to allow me to grow. That is it. So making my plans. Once it's something I want to do, he's there to push me. You can do it. What can we do to make it better? And I always get that vibes. That's very helpful because I know there are some women who, when they get married, they can't do certain things anymore because of insecurity from their partners. They have to stay home and all that.
So I would say a big thank you for coming on. I know that it's not easy sharing some of the things that we've shared here today.
Okay.
I also know that I mean, I don't think my entire family even sees Kekeli the way I describe it, because if you meet him, it doesn't look like he has any
Yeah.
issues to deal with. So it's not easy sharing some of these things, but we feel, or I believe that it's something that is going to help someone out there. And if you have any challenge or anything, watch the channel, leave a comment, and the team will reach out to you.